97.3 FM HD2.
Bump, without knowing the answer, if you had to guess whether or not ESPN's Buster Olney has Jerry Dipoto on his list of GMs under the most pressure, what would you guess?
If it's not, he loses all legitimacy.
Okay, well, good for Buster, he does. He says Jerry Dipoto is one of his GMs under the most pressure heading into the deadline. He said despite Raleigh's power, the Mariners are struggling for offense at first base and DH. There's a clear need for a thumper, whether it's Ryan O'Hearn or Josh Naylor or someone of that ilk. As with the Orioles a year ago, the Mariners' farm system is loaded, and Dipoto can present a buffet table of options to rival executives looking for a match. I know that the trade deadline, or that at any point it feels like it's just going to be tough because there are so many teams that are still like, well, we're in it, right? Expanded playoffs, we're still in it. But, oh, my God, you have to do something.
Yeah, you got to do something, baby. You have to do it because this is where you are every year, right? You're good enough to have people wonder, what if you add a bat? What if you add this? And you're not good enough to have people wonder what if they go on a skid and you miss the playoffs and you miss an opportunity to do something. So, yeah, Dipoto has to be. And I feel like he is every year. The last 3-4 years, we've been talking about him being on the hot seat.
Yes, and to his credit, the last couple off seasons, we've been talking about trade deadline moves that have at least felt like efforts, right? And I don't mean like we're halfway sellers, halfway buyers. I mean like getting Randy Arozarena,
right? A
move that we can get behind. Here's Jerry Dipoto on Trident Talk talking about the trade deadline.
You know, I think as we sit here, it's the first week of June. We have put ourselves in a good position as we approach the final, we'll call it 2 months leading up to the deadline. We have reached the point in the season where we have identified where our biggest needs are. And, we are in the process, like most teams in the league, of identifying players around the league who we feel like can help us fill those voids. And, fortunately for us, it's not 7 voids.
Bump, I think you'll find this cut interesting. Jerry Dipoto, also on Trident Talk, on being aggressive at the deadline.
I know we have the freedom to do it, that ownership is going to give us the flexibility to do it, and it just matters who's available. And right now there's so many teams that would qualify as, wow, they're kind of in it. And we're one of those teams. So hopefully the rest of them all stink for the next 40 days or so, and we can gain some clarity. But we think there are going to be players on the market who will fit what we're trying to achieve and who we feel like we can go out and acquire because we have as much to offer as anybody else in our position.
I knew it. I saw the eyebrows go up, Bump. Why?
Because he said ownership is going to allow them to make a run at somebody or something. All right. I think they will, but how much are they going to allow you to spend when it comes to that? How aggressive can you be? I think he's completely right when he talks about there are a lot of teams who are like looking at themselves saying, we're still in it. Like you look at the American League, you got Tampa and the Blue Jays holding down the wild card spots right now. You got the Mariners who are, half a game behind or something like that. You got the Twins half a game, Boston half a game, Texas 1, Guardians 1, Royals 3, Angels 3. I mean, you got teams who are really in the mix. Look at the other league, National League. You got Philly and the Giants up there. You got the Padres right behind them. The Brewers a game and a half, Cardinals 3, Cincinnati 3. So, yeah, he's absolutely right. There are teams who are still in the mix. Like the bottom feeders, we're looking at Chicago, the Athletics, the Pirates, and the Rockies, who, goodness gracious, Rockies 25 games out. But, you still had to wait for things to be sorted out. But how aggressive are you going to be allowed to be at the trade deadline? And that's something that is missed sometimes with Dipoto, is that obviously he is the face of this whole deal. He's the first point of contact when it comes to these trades of what's happening or what's not happening. But he's got some bosses he has to answer to. It's the people upstairs, and they sign his checks and allow him to go out there and spend. So he has to be creative. I just hope that maybe this year they see the window closing with the rotation. They saw just how lucky you've been. Logan got hurt early. I mean, thank God if he were to get hurt, it was earlier in the season. You got Bryce Miller, who's all banged up. Thankfully, you got some young guys. You've been unfortunate with this rotation, but fortunate at the same time that you're so deep that you've been able to kind of weather the storm. So I hope they look at that situation and they tell themselves, all right, we got to take advantage, because I only see 1 or 2 more years of this group being together.
Now, earlier we talked about the Devers trade and how the Giants had to take advantage of a team being in a bad situation, that team being Boston, that did not want to be beholden to this contract. But they also assumed some risk. They're paying a lot of money. They took on that contract to a DH. He's going to continue to DH for them. Maybe spend a little bit of time at third, but ultimately they have a third baseman. It's the same kind of problem, but they see it as overall a benefit. The Mariners are going to be taking on a risk. There is not going to be a perfect opportunity out there. There is not going to be a contending team with a really good bat that they give up for just a couple prospects. You're going to be in a weird situation, a sticky situation. Would you give up some top prospects for a rental?
I would. I said that last year, though. I'm down for the rental.
Down for the rental?
I'm down for the rental, man, because when are you going to have this group of arms together? Like, how much longer are these guys going to be here together? Because eventually you're going to have to make a move, a bigger move, if you want to capitalize on Cal Raleigh, on Julio, and then the core groups that you have. Then guess what? People are going to come after your arms. That's your biggest asset, your arms and your prospects. So, yes, I'm down for a rental because I want to make a run at this, and let's hang another playoff banner.
Curtis, Ian, if you're looking at someone like O'Hearn, who Buster Olney does mention here, 32 years old, right? A little bit older, rental. You give up Harry Ford?
For Ryan O'Hearn? I don't know about that, but I would definitely want to go out and get Ryan O'Hearn. I think he's had a fantastic first half of the season. I don't know if Harry Ford is going to be a name.
But
that
you'll
the
give
Mariners,
up a couple prospects.
I would, yeah.
You're going to have to overpay. No matter what. Maybe, you're going to be uncomfortable.
I look at last year's trade deadline where 0 top 100 prospects got moved league-wide.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if that's maybe going to be the same thing that happens again this year.
So then what would the Mariners have to do? Give up? They can't, what are you going to give up from your bullpen? You need to add to your bullpen.
Right, but you can give up, a couple of draft picks that you made last year. I'm not getting Ryan Sloan. I don't know about if that would be a guy. I think he's a top 100 prospect now, but maybe some lesser guys, not the names that we have all been talking about, but maybe something less.
If your stance, let's just say hypothetically as a team, is we wouldn't have made that move for Devers. That's too much. That's too big a contract for a DH. It's reckless. But an American League team just got weaker. Then beat them. Mm-hmm. If that's your stance, then live up to it. Sweep them. Play your best baseball. You know what I mean? If that's how you, in your mind, are going to take advantage of the situation, then do that. Great. I'll take that. Now, Bump and I, and maybe some listeners, would love it if the lesson was also, hey, don't be afraid to be a little more aggressive. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. Am I telling them to take on Devers' deal? No, I'm not. I know there are people that feel that way, so I want to make them feel included. Like there's a take out there that they absolutely could afford it and should do it. I don't think they're comfortable with it, but maybe they're comfortable with something else, and maybe the way that they're being influenced or the way that they could think, Bump, to your point, is just be a little aggressive in getting a bat. Go get Naylor. Go get Suarez. Swallow some pride. Get Suarez back. Right?
Go hit up, get in that phone book and hit everybody up and see where everyone stands. And I'm sure they're doing that, right? They're not just sitting at home, not thinking about ways to make this team better. But maybe now that they saw a deal go down, like you mentioned, it makes them want to double text. The team didn't reply to the text, so don't be scared. Go ahead and double text and see if there's still some offers on the table that you guys can work out. Because the name of the game is getting better, right? Right now, you are a game and a half outside of the wild card. You're in the mix, right? As bad as it felt for a while, as ugly as this team looked for a little bit. All right, you get a sweep, you're back in this mix. You never were really out of this thing. So many games to be played, but it's about that final boost. We were using Mario Kart as an analogy last week at some point.
Yeah, and I said the star.
Yeah, the star. What's going to give you that final push towards the end of the season to get you over the hump? And we'll see. But my gut tells me that it's not going to be anything crazy. But there will be an addition that they think makes this team better. There's a difference between what we think will make this team better and what they think will make this team better. Yes. We were, at the beginning of the season, we spoke to a name in the organization, and he told us, looked us in his eye and said, this is a good baseball team, and we're going to win a bunch of ball games. And they truly believe that. And at one point, I think they're patting themselves on the back and saying, we put together a roster that is competitive, but you know how the game goes. Where it can be football, basketball, baseball, don't matter. It's about adjustments on the field, adjustments with your roster, and kind of seeing the landscape of the league and figuring out what moves you can make. So I want to see what the whiteboard looks like over there for these guys.
Curious. Let's take a listen to what one MLB expert had to say.